I know. The biggest talking point of this new BMW X7 is this face. It's been radically redesigned for this facelift. But today, we're probably going to have to agree to disagree, because I don't think the biggest talking point of this car is its face. I think the biggest talking point is the way it drives. This is BMW's biggest SUV on sale in India today, but it drives nothing like a big SUV. It's really impressive. Welcome to Evo India and welcome to our first drive review of the BMW X7 on Indian roads. If you remember, late last year, I was in California driving this X7 on Californian soil. It's not the same. This is an Indian spec car on Indian roads, and I can tell you that the ride quality and handling still impresses. This is what makes the X7 so good, how it handles. You can really chuck it around corners with so much confidence, and it doesn't behave like a 2-ton SUV should behave. It behaves incredibly composed. There's a lot going on under the skin to make it feel this way. This is a BMW, and obviously it's got a sporty platform to begin with. But this update, this facelift, also comes with updated dampers, so they work a little bit better. You also get air suspension all around, so all 4 corners have air suspension. You've got your driving modes. I'm in Sport at the moment. You can go all the way to Sport Plus to make it even sportier. This car is running on 21-inch wheels, which make a huge difference to the handling. And it's got a 50-50 weight distribution. All of these combine to give this car such incredible poise through the corners. I'm on the hill climb up to Lavasa, and this is a narrow, twisty, windy road full of potholes that I need to dodge. And this is no place to be chucking around a massive SUV like this. These roads favor small cars, they favor sports cars, but a big, heavy 2-ton SUV, you need space. They generally don't handle their weight very well. They generally have lazy steering. But not this one. This one feels so dialed in, so composed. This update also brings in an updated steering system. So the way it feels, the way you have a connect to the road in front is incredible. You have so much confidence to place the car, and through winding chicanes like this, I can just steer the car in the direction I want to and trust the front end. It doesn't careen into understeer. It just grips and turns. These are fat tires, obviously, but they give you so much grip and so much confidence. And the body control, the way the weight shifts around, is really nicely controlled. Obviously there's going to be body roll. This is a tall car. SUVs by their very nature have body roll, and the X7 has plenty, but it's so gradual. It's on your side, it doesn't just sit on one side and then understeer, but the weight transfer actually allows you to understand what the car is doing, what the grip levels are, and then you can get back on the gas and shoot it out of corners. Something else that makes this car so good to drive is the fact that the xDrive is primarily rear-wheel drive. So it's actually 100% rear-wheel drive, and only when there's slip, it sends torque to the front. And you can feel that. The steering, it feels uncorrupted in the front. When you get back on the gas, you can feel it tugging a little bit, but it's never a problem. And you've got so much confidence to drive it hard, place it properly. I shouldn't be driving any 2-ton car like this, but whew, this is a proper riot. Proper riot. Unreal. This is not even an M car. This is an M Sport car, which is just cosmetics. So the suspension is actually the standard, regular, comfortable X7 suspension. And yet, it handles so bloody well. So well. And the beauty, the real beauty of the X7 is that when you want to get off the pace, you put it into comfort mode and you can just enjoy it. It's absolutely comfortable. You'd think that with handling like that, with control like that, with body control like that, you'd have a really firm suspension, but no. This is really corseting, over really bad roads. It absorbs the road well. It glides over small, minor undulations, those really long wave undulations. It just soaks them up beautifully. Really big bumps, really sharp bumps, okay, you will feel them a little bit. This is running on 21s after all, and that comes with some inherent disadvantages. But for the most part, 90% of the time, this is so comfortable. You're wafting along, the air suspension is corseting, you feel like you're gliding along the road. It's a beautiful feeling. And that dual nature, the fact that it can do sporty on one side when you're in the mood, but all of the other times, it's just cocooning you in luxury. That's a beautiful feeling. And few SUVs in this class actually give you that sort of breadth of ability on both comfort and dynamics. Most SUVs just lean towards comfort because that's what they're designed to do, not the X7. It can handle, and that's what I love about it. But more than the driving, there's a lot that's been updated on this X7 exteriors, interiors. So I'm just going to stop here quickly and tell you what's new. Now, when you talk about styling, it's obviously the face that grabs your attention first. This is a radical new design for the face, and when you look at it, it actually sits with the rest of the flagship range from BMW. So the XM from the M side, 7 Series from the sedan side, and this from the SUV side, they all have a uniform face, which includes the split headlamps. Obviously, these are adaptive LEDs with auto high beam and all of that. Massive grille, as you would expect of any new BMW, and this one's really in your face. It's a really aggressive face, and part of that is because this has the M package on it. So what you get is this really aggressive bumper design with these air vents and air curtains in them. When you come around to the side, you'll see 21-inch M wheels and M badges on the side. You've also got M badged brake calipers over there, really large wheels. Other elements in here, this one has the blacked out pack, so you can get this panel over here, this streak that runs through the base of the car in chrome internationally, but in India, because of the M Sport pack, you get it in black. Over at the rear, you've got roof rails to give that SUV styling. You've got this really big, boxy rear section. It's really imposing when you look at it in the flesh. And at the rear, at the back over here, refreshed tail lamps. The rear section is not a radical redesign, it's more subtle. So along with the tail lamps, you get the chrome strip that's set inside glass, and it looks really cool. You've obviously got your X7 badging on one side and the 40D badging on the other side. Overall, I must say this is a good looking SUV. When I first saw the X7, I was a little taken aback by it last year. I was like, I'm not too sure about it, but you let it sit with you for a while, and this design actually grows on you. I think this face suits a car like the X7 more than the sedans, and now when I look at it on the road, I'm like, wow, that actually looks pretty aggressive and cool. Now before we get back to the driving, let's quickly talk about the updates to the insides, because there's been a fair few updates here. All of that complicated system from the front is gone, and now you have this massive slab of digital real estate. You've got a 12.3-inch instrument cluster, very neatly done, and a 14.9-inch massive infotainment screen. This is really big, and it packs a ton of functionality in here. It's not the easiest to use, but you do get used to it, and then it becomes a lot easier. So at first, it was a little tricky to get around, but once you get used to what BMW has done in there, it's really easy to use. Down here, a couple of updates as well. You've got a lot of crystal elements in here in the rotary selector, in the gear selector. The gear selector is actually new, and also in the start-stop button. Stuff that I like, you've got hard press buttons for your modes. So on the go, if you want to change modes, you've got them over here, easy to access without looking at them. Another hard press button for traction control, and you've got this switch over here to change the level of the air suspension. So if you want to raise or drop the air suspension, you can do it from right here. The dash, this section has been updated as well. You've got really minimal air vents in here, and these air vent control handles that really protrude out. They're really easy to use because on the go they're easier to grab a hold of and move around. But they look really strange. They look like some alien bits coming out of a, I don't know, it's really unnerving to look at. Over here you've got an LED strip in the dash, and it's got the X7 logo in it and a bunch of lights. So and it responds to input. So when you put it into comfort mode, it changes color. You put it into sport mode, it changes color. It responds to various functionalities of the car. Not that it's of any use to you, it's so far out of your line of sight, but for the passenger, I guess it's cool. Apart from that, you've got this wood finish on the Indian spec cars. You've got soft touch leather, obviously. You've got brown leather on the interior of this car, but you can get the car with 3 different leather color options. In terms of equipment, obviously you've got a fair bit. This is a flagship. You've got a really nice Harman Kardon 16 speaker audio system. You've got this massive sunroof, and when I go to the back, I'll show you something really cool over there. You've got memory seats, obviously, and you've got heated and cool seats from up front. As for the M Sport elements on the inside, you've got an M Sport steering wheel, you've got M Sport on the sills over here, and you've got an M Sport element on the key, but that's about it. Not too much M Sport on the inside. Now the second row in the BMW X7 can only be specced with captain seats in India. It is a 6-seater, whether you like it or not. And I'm not complaining because these seats are really comfortable. They're just as good as the seats in front. They hold you well. They've got good support on your back, your lumbar, your thighs, and you've got a really comfortable spot to be in over here. You've got good visibility out of the front as well. Massive window over here. So really, this is a nice place to be if you want to be chauffeur driven around. Space as well, massive knee room. Obviously, I've put this all the way back right now to show you how much space there is. And as Karan, who's our videographer, says, "Isme headroom hi headroom hai." There's lots of headroom over here. Now, in terms of features and stuff at the back, something that's really nice is the fact that you have these blinds over here and they're electrically operated. So one button and they're all the way up. Same thing for the sunroof. You know, it's one button and your entire sunroof will open up. You don't have to stress around, climb around to do stuff in this car. They're treating you well over here. You've got 5-zone AC in this car. So you've got 2 zones in front, you've got 2 zones in the rear over here, and you've got a separate zone for the back. And you can control that from here. You can just put it to max AC if you want to cool down quickly, or you just set it to whatever temperature you want. You've got AC vents in the door, in the B pillar actually, and you've got AC vents in the center. Storage for your phone over here. You've got cup holders, USB Type-C, and you've also got a provision for an entertainment screen over here. The BMW X7 second row is actually a really nice, lavish place to be. I'm really enjoying my time over here. Now the third row of the BMW X7, I've set the second row to a mid position. So I have just about enough knee room over there and it's not all the way pushed back. And I've got enough knee room over here in the third row. It's just about adequate. My knees are not riding up against the second row seat. In terms of comfort of the seat, it's not too bad actually. I sink into it nicely, but I don't have enough under thigh support. Typical problem with these third row seats. As for creature comforts over here, it's not too bad. You've got your very own sunroof in the third row. That's not a common feature. And you've also got your very own AC zone, which you can control from these buttons over here. Apart from that, you've got USB Type-C ports, cup holders. So the third row isn't too bad a place to be. As an adult, you're not going to want to spend too much time in here, but it's okay in a pinch. As a kid, I think you'll be very thrilled over here. Now let's talk about the engine. That's something I haven't spoken about. The X7, it comes with 2 engine options for India. You get a petrol and you get a diesel engine. We're driving the 40D variant, which essentially gets a 3-liter straight-6 diesel engine. In terms of outputs, mighty 355 bhp and 700 Nm of torque. Okay, I'll admit that 700 peak torque is only available for 1,000, little more than 1,000 RPM, but 700 RPM is a lot. So throughout the rev range, you've got so much torque and it feels so effortless. It really suits the character of the X7. The X7, it's a big, large, burly SUV and you want to get a move on effortlessly. You don't want to feel like it's strained. And I promise you, this engine, at no point does it feel like it's strained. In comfort mode, when you step on the throttle, it just picks up pace effortlessly. And then you put it in a sport mode. And that's when the gearbox, this is an 8-speed automatic, it gets more aggressive. So it downshifts early, keeps you more in turbo boost, keeps you more in the power band. And then getting on the throttle is just effortless. It just moves so quickly. It's really fun. Okay, I'll admit, this doesn't have the crispiness of a petrol engine. It doesn't sound as refined, it doesn't feel as crisp. But I don't mind that because you've got so much torque, so much performance. And the diesel engine, it's not loud. In fact, you've got active glazing, what BMW calls it, on the windscreen and the front side windows. And that essentially drowns out a lot of the sound. So inside the cabin, it's actually quite quiet. You don't hear too much of the engine. And you just ride that wave of torque, get to the next gear and ride it all over again, and it just never lets up until you're doing ridiculous speeds. You're doing illegal speeds before you know it. It's just insane how much fun this car is. And the drivetrain actually complements the chassis too, because you can really drive the car, enjoy the chassis, have a little bit of fun with it. And when you're getting out of the corner, you've got that slug of torque just waiting to shoot you to the next one. It's just so entertaining. The all-wheel drive system also is absolutely flawless, just puts down the power without drama. There's really so little to criticize in this car. I haven't found a single thing to criticize about. Okay, the face. You don't like the face. Styling is your own thing. But once you're done with that, what do you criticize about this car? It's packed with tech. It's packed with features. You've got proper dynamics. You've got proper comfort. You've got pace. You've got a diesel engine, so you can get better efficiency than you get out of petrol. It's exactly what you'd want from your SUV. I really want nothing more from my SUV. This is it. I didn't think I'd fall in love with the X7, but I think I have. What a car. What an SUV. I don't want to stop driving it. It just keeps making me want to drive it. What a wild ride. So what's the verdict on the BMW X7? Number one, it's a great car to drive. I really enjoyed my time up in the hills with this SUV. Number two, it does comfort as well. So the back seat, it's usable. The ride quality is great. And the third seat, well, you can manage in a pinch. Overall, I'm really impressed with how wide the breadth of ability of this X7 is. Prices for the X7 start at Rs 1.27 crores for the 40i M Sport variant. The 40D DPE costs Rs 1.29 crores and the variant on test, the 40D M Sport, costs Rs 1.3 crores ex-showroom. And at that price, it goes up against the Mercedes-Benz GLS and the Audi Q7. This one, honestly, it has my heart because of how good it is to drive and how engaging it was up in the hills today. And I think it's a really competent all-rounder. It really has my heart. If you can live with the way this thing looks, I just close my eyes and recommend it.